So if you're brave enough to go on social media these days, or even braver to do so after a Formula 1 Grand Prix, you'll bear witness to some of the most senile human beings planet Earth has to offer. You've got the die-hard fans whose superpower is holding an erection that beats out Sauber pit stop times, the analysts who spend their lives documenting the consistency of the FIA, and the strategists who are so good they don't work for an actual Formula 1 team. For the last few years, this last group has gotten the opportunity to live out their fantasies in the official F1 Manager game, and it appears the legends over at Frontier Gaming seem to have forgotten that I'm still on their mailing list. So here we are once again, with the 2024 iteration of the game a few weeks early. With my attempt last year going not very well, this is going to be interesting. But before we begin, I'm obliged to remind you that, as the big message at the top of the screen clearly says, this is just a preview build of the game. You may well see the occasional visual bug, for example Alpine still having staff, but unlike the other F1 video games out there, this should all be sorted before its official release on the 23rd of July. Good, now that's out the way, let's get into this. So upon opening the game, just like every year, I get to select the team to drive into the floor, and here's where I encountered my first issue. They'll just sack me, they'll leak my WhatsApps, I mean, no one wants to work for them anymore. Having established that I didn't want to work for any of the existing 10 outfits on the grid, I decided just to make up my own. Create a Team is an all-new feature in F1 Manager 24 and gives you tons of options for customization. And as we found out later, maybe a little bit too much. Having named my team with a joke deader than the legend himself's career, I got to select my starting drivers and staff. I could have snagged the likes of Hamilton straight out of the gate here, and given we're building the worst possible team, maybe the Brit was an option. Okay, now I've halved my subscriber count, let's sign Stroll and Sargent for the me. As for the staff, I didn't really know who to go with, so ended up taking a bunch of people who looked like they were generated by AI, including this guy who doesn't even have a face. Engine selection was pretty much a no-brainer, and then we get to the exciting stuff, designing the car's livery. How gopping can I make this thing? Pretty gopping, okay. With that complete, and having sourced some driver overalls out of a Glastonbury portable toilet, we got into designing our team's logo, which was a lot more free than I initially thought. Oh, please tell me I can do what I think I can do. Okay, this looks sus at the moment. It's going to be a lot better than this. Oh, that looks hideous. After exploring the menus and laughing at a few of the F3 drivers' mugshots, oh, they've done Esterson dirty there. I mean, that guy's just got his name by punching a keyboard. I designed a new front wing because that seemed like something I should probably be doing. Was that a wise decision given who I had in the car? Probably not, but that sounds like a future me problem. We can put that alongside the Hitler joke in my last race review. Back to the present though, and before we could hit the track, it was time to explore another new feature of F1 Manager 24, because some companies had seen my marvellous new look and decided it would be a good idea to stick their logo next to it on our car. With so much choice, I thought it was going to be a tough call. As it turns out, not really though. 16.9 million versus 2.3 and 2. Yeah, I think that's it's an easy decision, isn't it? This decision was made even more relevant when I realised I could just sign every sponsor from the get-go. I probably should have read up on them a little bit more, but that's never done Haas any issues, has it? So having signed anyone and everyone who wanted a bit of Mazepin Motorsport then, it was time to pleasure them. Not in that way, you filthy animal. I found myself presented with a range of engagement activities, ranging from additional driver interviews, which we all know Lance Stroll craves for, and then sending my head of aero into a school. Having decided he looked safe enough for that assignment, I sent him on his way, and given he previously worked at Alpine, maybe that experience would be beneficial for all involved. Oh, you see, he enjoyed the school, look at that. He's gone up a level just from going to a school. With that out of the way then, now it was finally time to kick off the Bahrain Grand Prix weekend.
It's not available. It's a fight.
Middle finger on the front of the car!
There's been a bit of talk about...
This is where most content creators might waste 10 minutes of your time meticulously going through practice to find the optimal setup. Frankly, I couldn't be f***ed with that, so skip straight to qualifying before preparing to simulate that as well. Now was a good time to check up on the ramifications snagging Stroll and Sargent had on the driver market, and holy shit, what has happened here? As it turned out, this was just the AI placing its affiliates and reserve drivers in the cars for the opening session. In reality, Aston had signed Dennis Hauger and Williams had replaced Logan with Richard Verschoor, which makes about as much sense as the innards of Jacques Villeneuve's head, but we move, I guess. Qualifying at least was realistic, Verstappen taking pole and Sargent failing to make it out of Q1. Lance did a little bit better, making it into the second part of qualifying before ending up last in the field, which gives us plenty of work to do on race day.
Bahrain has seen some of the most dramatic races in F1, like Sergio Perez's incredible 2020 victory, surging ahead from being last on the opening lap.
What else happened in 2020? The middle finger's journey was about to begin, and as the lights went out, the Bahrain Grand Prix was underway. Stars we mean to go on, I guess. Not much happened in the opening laps, if I'm honest, but I still found a way to keep myself entertained. I've just noticed the two middle fingers on the timing screens. I was hoping those two middle fingers would start making their way up the order, but as the opening phase of the Grand Prix dragged on, the opposite was becoming true. I eventually realised that this can happen when you decide to sit back and watch the pretty pictures rather than actually manage your cars, which is kind of the main point of this f***ing game, let's be honest. But when I did start randomly hitting buttons, it seemed to work. God, okay, that was a bit of a Lance-esque move, but okay.
Oh, see that, man?
Lance showing emotion. Yeah, that's points off for immersiveness on that one. Stroll was actually making pretty good headway, storming through the field like he was Sonic the Hedgehog after confusing his rings with MDMA, and it wasn't long before the Canadian was sounding like the blue crackhead as well.
Yes!
I soon realised this was because I'd told both drivers to push their ERS, and now they'd drained the battery flat. And yes, I said both drivers, one of them was benefiting from it and the other was Logan Sargent. The American had also murdered his tyres by this point, so I decided I knew better than our strategy team and boxed him early onto the hards. Stroll would be in a lap later and actually get the undercut on the RBs ahead. Holy shit, Stroll is in the top 10. I am a strategy god, let's go. With one of the middle fingers running in the points, now we just had to somehow stay there for 30 more laps. Logan meanwhile was getting passed for 19th. 2 tours later and we weren't in the top 10 anymore, and Stroll was back to normal.
I can't. Yeah, it's insane how bad we are.
Well, f*** you then. Having now given up on Daddy's boy, I turned my attention to Logan in 19th. He was in a lovely little scrap with Bottas, so I gave him the opportunity to turn up his fuel mode and properly attack the fin, which went well. Oh, he's come from so far back. Oh no, Logan, you've been mugged there, mate. It was now time for the second round of stops, and Stroll was back in 13th. Points were looking like a distant dream, but still, could be worse. Oh, With Logan practically out then, I spent the rest of the race watching other teams find ways to cock up their Grand Prix. McLaren were practicing Red Bull's Austria pit stop routines, and new signing Aston Martin, Dennis Hauger, hadn't discovered the look behind you button yet. So update on Logan here. I forgot he actually had to come into pit. Part of me forgot that because he was already in P18 and I assumed he was just waiting to move up the order. But no, he is that But oh, there you go, second in the fastest pit stops. That's not bad at least. I mean, there's no fucking points for that, but yeah, it's something, isn't it? The final laps of the race saw us fending off the Haas of Hulkenberg, and with a bit of actual playing the game, I managed to succeed here, which automatically makes us better than Sergio Perez, so it's those small wins really, isn't it? Leclerc would take victory, somehow, while we would come home in 13th and 18th for Stroll and Sargent respectively. Not the best showing for the middle fingers in their debut race, but this was still a hell of a lot of fun. So thanks again to the guys at Frontier for letting me have a go at the game early, and if you want to pick it up for yourself, and probably do a much better job than me, you can check out the game when it releases on July 23rd. If you enjoyed the video and want to see more like this, then you can let me know by getting subscribed and dropping it a like. And before I go, let's say a final thank you to the patrons and channel members for just being all-round legends or something. If you want to get involved in that, then all the relevant links are down in the description below. Anyway, I'll be back very soon with another video, but until then, have a good one.